Hey everybody, this is Bradley Bennett with Semantic Mastery, and today we got two special guests on with us. One of anybody who's followed Semantic Mastery for any length of time would probably be familiar with Rob Beal. He was a kind of a JV partner of ours for many, many years, and we kind of rekindled that relationship a little bit. And I'm glad to have you back, Rob, into our kind of our our sphere of influence, so to speak. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah, I'm glad to be back, boss.
yeah, man, it's good to have you back. And he's got Ed Baker, which is his partner in crime for this. And guys, he's going to be demoing an awesome tool. I did a video about it last week on YouTube specifically to kind of warm everybody up, tease them a little bit, tease you guys about it because I think it's an incredible tool. I really do. I think it's an amazing, not a keyword research tool, but a marketing tool. And I'm really impressed with it, and been using it a hell of a lot lately. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to these guys because they can do a hell of a lot better of a job explaining it than I do. So, Rob and Ed, thank you guys for joining us today. And I'm just going to kind of stand in the back and I might comment occasionally, but this is your show, guys. So I'm going to let you guys take it.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for having us, first of all. I'm Ed. Obviously, Rob is my business partner here. We both have some roots here in semantic mastery. I was a lurker. I'm just going to admit it up front. I probably came to Hump Day Hangouts for 2 years. I came to POFU once, just remotely. I bought a ticket. So I had
Okay.
my POFU coin. But for the most part, I was just kind of the quiet guy listening, to be perfectly honest with you. So, long story short, the software that we've built here is rooted in the same concepts and the same teachings that semantic mastery started with, right? It's just kind of we've pushed the research a little bit further. We've invented some processes, and we've found really really good results with this. So you know I'm at a point in my career now where I'm starting to get a little bit lazy as a marketer. Like I'm just tired of running the same process over and over and over again. So like if you're launching a new brand, there's, a series of steps to take. And so I had started building, once the AI craze hit, I started building software in spreadsheets. So I just been messing around because I'm not really a coding type, but I am into all the data science type stuff and the patterns. So then Rob and I got together with what I had, I guess, prototyped in spreadsheets, and we started to come up with these different modules, right, and bring them to life. So I think what's interesting about anybody who's doing entity-based SEO, and that's everybody here in Semantic Mastery, and anybody else who's watching, when we say entity-based SEO, we're focusing kind of on one idea, one concept, one thing, one noun, a person, a place, a location. We're putting our emphasis on one structural thing, whether we're building a website or a campaign. We're making our intent and everything focused around that one concept, because we don't want to put two concepts on a page or two concepts in an email, because it causes confusion, not only for the user, but it causes confusion for the robots and the algorithms that ultimately are our gatekeeper. So, we will demo, and let me share screen and get software up, because I think it's just best to kind of demo each module. And of course, we can answer questions and we can run different reports. Have all sorts of fun today. And I might have to drop, I'm literally holding this camera with a hand right now because my webcam, of course, wouldn't boot. So I might go dark at times, but I'm still here. I'll pop in and out. Let me share screen here. And let me know if you guys can see the
Yeah, we
Content
got it.
Maxima interface.
I can see
Yep.
it. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So let me kill video here and just demo for the moment. So we're going to start off, whether you're launching something new, whether you're trying to figure out how to better optimize. And again, one of the things I should say, but before we even get into the software, is we're kind of beyond SEO at this point in time. It's not that we don't use it, but like we've realized that there's a lot more going on in the world right now. There's AI, there's SEO, there's pay-per-click, there's social media, there's just all these different platforms and channels, and it gets really hard to keep up with the tricks and tactics and techniques on all these different platforms. So one of the things that we talk about a lot is the idea of developing authority on a specific platform. And, you know, what is that? It means something a little bit different if you talk to SEO people or pay-per-click people or, you know, Facebook people, but ultimately it's kind of a source for your information. And one of the things we realized, like, especially on the SEO side of stuff, if you use a keyword tool, keyword research tool, or even one of the AIs, ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, and you ask it to find relevant keywords, it will find you relevant keywords. But one of the problems we kept running into is like, well, which one's more relevant? Which one do I use? Do I use the singular? Do I use the plural? Like it leaves all of these questions, and you kind of find yourself down a rabbit hole, not sure what to do. So the very first module here in Content Maxima, this analysis module, is going to help you, you know, kickstart your efforts. It's going to give you a blueprint. So for demo purposes today, I can just do my BLT sandwich, or we can do something else. I don't know if you have any preference, Rob.
Oh, I don't necessarily have a preference.
Yeah,
But we can always switch it up.
what I mean, most of our audience is local, but I don't know if you can apply your kind of demo to that. If not, then the BLT thing, because you're familiar with it. So
Yeah, so we of course can apply it to local. I mean, we could pick plumbing, or we could pick something else, you know, tree removal or HVAC. I don't know if you have a
audience,
audience.
somebody,
Anybody speak up?
yeah. Let's get a couple votes from the audience. I see Alex first. Keep going, guys. Let's get 5 more. So contractors, plumbing, concrete. Yeah. So contracting industries, real estate, HVAC. So it seems like a contractor. So just pick one that you want to do, Ed. HVAC, plumbing, whatever.
All right, let's just do plumbing, just because we're all familiar with that, and it's
Okay.
pretty easy and standard. So I'm going to start off by just putting in my keyword. And again, this could be a keyword, a concept. It could be an entity. It could be, you know, it could be anything that you want to put in there, right? You can try stuff. It could be multiple words. It could be a phrase. We're just going to try to find the 25 closest, semantically closest, like the distance on a graph database. This is the difference of Content Maxima versus a tool that's just going to give you keywords. We're looking at how the data is stored, how it's retrieved, how it's understood. That's where our focus is. It's not, hey, what does Google think of it yet? Like, we're before Google. Everything's before the algorithm. So we're just trying to figure out, okay, in a graph database, if I'm plumbing, what's connected to me? What's the next closest thing? So we're going to find 25 of those ideas. And then for each of those 25, and this is just my recommendation based off of a good starting point for whether you're small local or you're big and national, doing a report with 25 and then 5 nodes, as we call them, or these ideas, is best. So I'm going to run the report, and it's going to generate an Excel spreadsheet, and we're going to pop it open, and you'll be able to see how it calculated the nodes. And then you have a blueprint tab where you can just instantly pop it open and see, okay, if I'm working for a plumber, if I'm starting a new plumber brand, like, what is that core content, or what is that footprint? That's really what we're looking at here. What's the digital footprint for this particular niche, for this industry? And can I copy that same footprint and get it onto my domain, into my ecosphere? Because if I mimic the same pattern that the AI is expecting, then I can be trusted, right? Because I'm matching some sort of definition in the database. So we'll do plumbing here. Let me grab the file. All right. Like I said, this first tab is literally nodes and edges. So if you don't know much about a graph database, I just want you to think of dots and lines, right? The dots are people, places, things, locations, they're entities, right? And then the lines between the dots are the relationships, like the relationship attributes between 2 different entities. So this is measuring those entities. You don't really have to know much, but it's just here in case you want to see the guts of the process. But here on the blueprint tab, this is where you're going to get, you know, that meat. So whether you're optimizing real high level at like 10,000 feet, hey, I'm trying to set up this new plumber's website, or whether you're looking very specifically at a current website or a landing page, or even something as minor as a paragraph, we can use this footprint to engineer our message across any of that to meet the algorithmic expectations because we're pulling the ideas and the concepts again that are one hop away within the database. So plumbing, what's the closest or most important entity for plumbing? Well, it's pipes. That's super obvious. Fittings, drainage, sewer, water supply. So these are the 25 that are closest in that database. So if you're trying to become an authority, if you're trying to rank, if you're trying to create association of your brand or yourself with an idea, right? Because that's what we all want to be known for. Like, hey, I want to be known as the plumbing guy, Ed the plumbing guy. Well, I need to get myself and these ideas attached somewhere in the digital space so that as the machines get to know me and get to learn who I am, they can see, oh, Ed knows about plumbing and he has all the right ideas and concepts and words and things that we'd be looking for. So these are the 25 that are the most important in prioritization. Over here are the secondary to those 25. So what's the next most important thing to pipes? Well, you'll see it's fittings. Now it's also the next most fitting or most important thing in plumbing. So there's going to be times where there's a little bit of conceptual overlap, but you can see how close things are with this software. And so unlike keyword tools, we're not scraping SERPs and trying to give you some idea of search volume or anything like that. We're literally targeting the natural language processing side of AI. So the understanding side of AI and getting that definition out there before the algorithms are applied. Because we all know, if you've done SEO for years, you know it's up and down roller coaster ride all the time. Oh, this new update, I just got killed. Or, oh, this one worked really good for me. I just popped. All my clients are doing good. All my clients are doing bad. This helps alleviate that roller coaster because this is that whole entity SEO concept. This is that semantic information design that the machines expect and recognize. So again, whether you're starting a new website, whether you're optimizing an existing website, whether you're doing a page, we can conceptually use this data at any level of your marketing effort to align it to what the machines are expecting. So this is really that blueprint for success. It's a great starting point. You can always change the number of nodes that you want here in the interface. I did 25 and 5. That was my suggestion as just a default to you guys. There, of course, you could run, 10 and 200 if you wanted. The only thing I'm going to warn you is larger reports aren't better because we all know AI isn't 100% accurate. It drifts at times. So if we're sampling smaller data sets, there's less drift. And then you as the human have to do less work because if I get a huge report with thousands of words in it, it's up to me to use the human element to decide, hey, it's now talking about, I don't know, something that's not related. It's talking about grass. That's not quite related to plumbing. It's kind of outdoor plumbing. Like they've pulled in some idea that I don't want anymore. So my suggestion to you is just keep a smaller report sampling size when you're starting a project. And again, when you ask me, what can I use this report for? Well, this could be, a sitemap on a website, or it could be a new service, right? A new service page or a new service department with multiple pages. It could be a product. It could be information like, informational content, blogs. This could help you with your drip email sequences for customers. How do I onboard them? How do I tell them what to expect now that you've had that bathtub fix? Here's what to do with your pipes. Here's what to do if the fittings go. Here's what to do if drainage comes up. Like it's the same informational concept that can be applied to any of the marketing, advertising, or promoting that you're doing online. Does that make sense? Do we have questions about that?
There was one question, but you kind of covered it. Well, there's a few more that came in, but would getting more than 5-second nodes per first node get the page more topical relevance? Just to repeat that, he answered it. And the problem is when you start to add more and more nodes, the AI starts to drift, because if you tell it to get you 100, it's going to bring 100. So it'll start going out to stuff that's less topically related just based on the number you ask. So he did kind of mention it's better to start with smaller reports. And then you can, depending on your niche, you can play around with it. Do 25-5, do 10 and 5, do 5 and 10, just to see where it starts to drift on you. Second question while we're in here says, which database would this be pulling from? Chat or another source pulling from Google's knowledge graph?
I so wanted
So
to reply and say, wait for it.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, to answer that question for you, at this point in time, we're working exclusively with OpenAI technology. You can choose the model, right? Which LLM model that you actually want to run, and you will get slightly different results in each model because they've been trained in different ways. The other thing I'll remind everybody here is that these AI algorithms and these language models, these are living, breathing things. They're changing by the second. So when you run a report, you're getting that snapshot. But if something's happening in the world real time, the definitions of things can very much change and shift on you. So at this point in time, OpenAI, you'll need an OpenAI key to run the software. It's the reason we went with OpenAI is obviously it's one of the biggest, earliest, it blew up first, right? We're definitely interested in adding more language models because if I had a dream vision for the software one day, Rob will kill me now. I'm not promising any features, but if you could put in all the different AIs that you want to ping our same process, right? And you could get then layered averages or find overlaps amongst different models, different providers. I mean, conceptually speaking, this could go, this could get real crazy real fast in a effort to stay functional, productive, successful. We're just on OpenAI right now. We will in the future. It's being worked on, integrate other models because we know people, like I said, prefer Claude or prefer Grok or prefer whatever. So that is possible. But yeah, that's how you're going to power it. And you just need $5 to start to get a tier one OpenAI API account. You will get throttled a little bit. I have to warn you. So that what that means is if you keep running the software over and over and over again sequentially or quickly, it's pretty intensive, right? It's sending a lot of information back and forth over the API. So you might have to chill out and only do like one report every minute or so until you go up in tier level on OpenAI. And the only reason I'm telling you all this is I just want to set your expectations because a lot of different apps moving forward, if you're not already into using applications that allow you to use your own API key, the reason it's so nice is you can assign an API key for different applications. You can track the usage to specific applications. There's a whole bunch of reasons to use API keys rather than relying on the company to provide you the service. It just gives you a lot more flexibility. So that's where we're at this point. But I wanted to get ahead of it and say, yes, we hope to have even more models in here for you guys soon.
If you don't mind, I want to jump in just real quick because two things. Number one, just the number of nodes when in the tree service industry, which is the industry I work in, guys. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that. If I do 25 tier one nodes, it drifts like Rob just said. It's too broad, it's too vague, and there's in the tree service industry, there's really not 25 is too broad. I found that kind of the sweet spot for tier one nodes for the tree service industry is around 15. So as Ed just mentioned a moment ago, you just want to play around with a little bit and with whatever industries you're in and try to find where what the correct number of nodes is at tier one, tier two, or primary and secondary, excuse me, from just playing with a little bit. So and then number two, I think I misunderstood Adam Patel's question about the number of databases it pulls from because I was thinking of the matrix. I won't spill the beans now. I'll wait till you demo the matrix tool, but that's what I was thinking of.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Well, that's a beast of its own too. We'll
Yeah.
keep moving on and show that feature. If there's any more questions about analysis at any time, just ask though. But in an effort of obviously letting people see everything and have more questions come in, we'll do that. So let's do plumbing here. The other thing I noticed too, Bradley, like when you did trees, I think because we just put in what tree service, we were getting some like holiday seasonal decor type services because it wasn't like you had said tree removal. You didn't get more specific, right?
Yeah,
So
I've
depending,
played with tree care service, tree removal, tree trimming, like all that kind of stuff. And what's interesting is you change the intent too. Like for example, the difference between tree removal and tree removal service will return different results because tree removal brings in some kind of informational type entities, whereas tree removal service brings in more service-based entities. Does that make sense?
yeah, it makes sense to me. And
Yeah.
I would tell everybody you're kind of moving up and down the entity ladder at all times in
Yeah.
everything that you're doing. You're trying to find that top level, but it's the top level for you because you might not want the actual informational top level. You
That's
might
right.
want something just one below that or two below that, because that's where you're going to make your money. So it is very much methodical, kind of going up and down an entity ladder. If you've never done so, I think most of the semantic mastery people have gone into Wikipedia. You can see a lot of how information's structured and linked. And there's even a cool plugin I've used before. I think it's called Entity Explosion, but it shows you the other connected ideas and gives you like some of those machine readable identification numbers, and just a lot of good data and information's in there. And a lot of these algorithms and stuff I've trained in there, just because it's one of the largest bodies of text in existence or information. Let's do matrix. So the matrix is hard to appreciate right now because it literally works in a couple of seconds. But the first time Bradley probably saw the matrix,
Like 15 minutes.
15 minutes would be generous, Bradley. It would have been more probably like 45 or even 60 minutes. So what we have here in the matrix module is, we know natural language processing is the one universal technology that all of Tech Online is using. So the reason we're targeting that is if we can get whatever the algorithm, whatever the AI, whatever the platform to understand us better before they apply their algorithm, we have such better odds. It's the highest level like macro optimization you could make. So in the research of natural language processing, I had boiled down, I said, how many of these other language analysis types exist? If natural language processing is so powerful, what else exists out there? Came up with a list of over 1,100. So had lots and lots of conversations with different AIs trying to figure out, okay, which of these analysis types of language, right? Which language analysis types are being used by Facebook, by TikTok, by Instagram, and then why? What features would require them to use this type of analysis? What sequence might they use the analysis in? So a lot of just research of like, what are these things? Because for the record, not a linguistic expert. So this is all came out of entity research, SEO research, but went down this rabbit hole and boiled down that list of 1,100 to 63 different analysis types. So there's stuff in here about like n-grams, there's semantic relations labeling, there's historical viewpoints of the entity, there's topic modeling, cluster modeling, there's all of these different analysis types. And I want to stress this, it's not important for you to understand how each one of these works, why it works, etc. What I've done for you here, what Rob's done for you here, is we've taken the 63 most frequently used, the popular technology types that these big tech companies are running in their stack at different points. And we take your idea and we run it through each one of those. So it's 63 different analysis programs. These are like 63 different mini softwares or mini AI agents, however you want to look at this. It's a super robust process to do that. So we take your word and we look at it from all these different angles. And then after we've looked at it from all these different language analysis types, we tally up the frequency and we give you this tab called the algorithm trigger words list. So the algorithm trigger words is literally a list of the expected entities, words, phrases, ideas, concepts, all those things that are most relevant. This is almost the DNA of your subject matter, is how to look at this. So we know if something, comes up in most of the models, most of the programs, that's super important, because no matter how the machine's looking at that subject matter, it's thinking about backflow prevention. So if you're doing plumbing, backflow prevention that you could possibly be talking about, because no one wants their pipes to be, have backflow, right? Pipe insulation would be next. Now you might disagree with these things, and this is where the science and the art comes in, right? You might say, gosh, there's no customer talking about backflow prevention. It might not be in that exact way. It might be, hey man, my toilet's clogged, get here, right? So you have to kind of put on your thinking cap at times, but this is really that DNA makeup. So we tell you in the green here, if I was going to be doing any type of digital marketing, I don't care if it's SEO, I don't care if it's writing, I don't care if it's video scripts, podcasts, AI, whatever, I would be sprinkling these words throughout all of my messaging because I would want my brand, my person, my business to be associated to all of these things. Because from the data science standpoint, if I have associations to all of these things, I have that definition it's expecting. I'm in that right neighborhood. I'm talking the right talk. I'm walking the right walk. Now it's easy to recommend Ed the plumber because Ed has mentioned these things. And you have to also keep in mind that sometimes there's things in here that you don't want, but that's a great opportunity to take a contra competitive standpoint and say, you know what? I hate doing pipe insulation. That's the last thing that my plumbing business does. It drives me crazy. I can't stand it. But just by me saying, we don't do pipe insulation, I've kind of checked that entity off the box, if that makes sense. I've included it. So it's a part of my digital footprint. And again, when I say included it could have been in a blog article, it could have been on my Facebook post, it could have been in my Google business profile. I'm just saying you as a organization, a business, even as a person, have a digital footprint online. It transcends all different platforms. And all of these algorithms are scraping this data constantly. And so you would sprinkle this messaging, these words, throughout your posts and your ads and your blog articles and all that stuff to get the maximum impact. And again, not an SEO optimization, a natural language processing optimization. So you are optimizing your messages by just merely using these entities before they come and apply their algorithm. So it doesn't matter if it's Google or Facebook or whoever, they're just going to better understand that without a shadow of a doubt, Ed's talking about plumbing because he mentioned, valves and leak detection and toilets. So we know for sure because he used some of these more common words and phrases that matter to our understanding of the subject matter and how we store it in our database, we for sure can say he's a plumbing expert. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and just to kind of add on to what uh, Ed we just spoke about a moment ago, which is like how you change I guess the seed query, like the difference between tree care and tree care service. Tree care is going to bring back a bunch of informational stuff related around tree care and tree health assessments and all that. But tree care service, that's going to bring back stuff like tree removal, tree trimming services in the involved with tree care, right? And so that's kind of like with this plumbing term, you said there might be some stuff that you don't agree with, right? But that's because you just did the very broad plumbing. But like if
Right.
you did plumbing service or plumbing repair or something like that, then it would likely return a lot of additional trigger words, algorithm trigger words that would be a lot more service related type queries or terms.
Yeah, I mean, let's do plumbing services just for the heck of it, right? Why
Yeah.
not?
And I just wanted to make that distinction, guys, because I think it's important for local, like from my own experience of testing with this tool, is that if I keep it more service focused instead of like broad general information, it tends to perform better in local search.
And just to jump in there as a graphical database kind of nerd, I know everybody's going for the service because that's the money keyword, right? But to sprinkle in, like we were talking about tree removal, might be people looking to how to do it themselves.
Right.
Those could be little blog articles you could put, right? Because if you rank for how to remove a tree and you talk about the difficulty of it, the danger, da 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 da, and then they say, hey, if you want to go to our tree service removal, we do that in this area, right? So then you can cover the topic, right? Just to get informational searches because that we'll get into later where you're meeting the customer depending on where they're at in their funnel journey. So those may be topics that you may not want to focus on right out the gate because those aren't necessarily your money keywords, but you could drive a lot of traffic, which would then, whether you get the conversion on that traffic or not, it's validating other parts of the algorithms that are used as far as like everybody talks about CTR. Well, you're getting it organically by people just getting informational queries. Because I can't tell you how many
Yeah.
times I've done an informational query and end up either ordering something to do it myself or like, dude, I don't want to get involved in this. This is too dangerous, too scary. And calling the place if they're close enough that tells me how to do it. And then they say in there, hey, but we can do this for you. So
Yeah.
don't miss out on getting those informational queries into your website because then if you think about from Google's standpoint, they're just trying to find who is the best, most knowledgeable company for this thing. And if you cover all aspects of it, from informational, transactional, and all the different other topics or ways that you can cover a topic, it validates you even further into the databases and the systems that are retrieving what to send to the user when they're searching.
One other thing I want to add in all this. So we pulled up, we have plumbing and we have plumbing services. We can see the entities and the sequence of, or the frequency, excuse me, of those entities has changed, but obviously some of the major ideas like backflow prevention is number 3 on services, but was number 1 on the highest level entity. So yes, you can run these different ways. You can run them on different models. The other thing I want to point out to you guys, it's just helpful. So in any of these modules, I'm just going to run an analysis for this, but if I do a really ambiguous word, like the example I like to use is bark, and I say pull some entities, I'm not sure what we'll get. And I'm not sure that the AI is sure of what it should get, because do I mean the tree bark? Do I mean the dog that barks? Do I mean that I'm yelling at somebody? Do I mean the freelancing website where I can get SEO gigs? Do I mean the dessert, right? Like the almond bark or whatever, right? So there's so many things that bark could be that if you get these poor results and you don't get what you want, I don't know why this is hanging here for a second, but you can put in parentheses, because we're not a keyword tool, because we're using actual intelligence and AI models, we can give it or kick it in the right direction. So I could very easily say, tree, or I could say dog, to kind of kick it in the right direction conceptually if I'm facing any ambiguity, if I'm getting results that are mixed results that don't look good. So let's see what comes up for bark, because I gave it no other information on bark. Let's see. Yeah, so look at this. Tree, dog, wolf, trunk. That's ambiguity. It's not sure, so it has to pull some results from the tree, some results from the dog, because it's not entirely sure what we want. Whereas if I had gone in there and I do bark tree, right, with the parenthesis, I can kick it in that direction, right? So I just want you to know in the interface, feel free to test if you need to disambiguate or clarify, or even we've had customers do this. Rob and I did not make the software multilingual yet. It's not multilingually supporting all the different countries and all the different languages, but because it's built on these LLMs and because they're quite good at translating things, you could even put in here, and I'm not saying it's going to work 100% of the time because we didn't actually put this in as a feature, but I just want you to realize that you're dealing with intelligence, not a keyword tool. You could say translate to Spanish, right? And then when I run this report, it should, and just for the heck of it, we'll see. But feel free to try these things if you're not getting quite the result that you want. Feel free to use parentheses to disambiguate or experiment, because again, it's not a keyword tool. All right, where did this go? Yeah, here we go. Rob is probably sweating because this isn't an official feature, but it did it, right? Because it's built on the LLMs, it's built on the AI. So it's just super smart is what I want you to realize. You're not just plugging in a keyword, and you don't have to worry about, with the S, without the S, singular, plural kind of battles. We're looking at things at a much greater level. So I think the Matrix module is one of the most powerful things you can do in any brand to help solve any marketing, advertising, promotional issues, or just figuring out how to go to market or how to attack something, because you can really get that DNA of the idea. You can see where the attention is, and then you can best decide, do we include that thing? Do we exclude that thing? And just kind of cherry pick your way to a winning strategy.
Not only that, but these related algorithm trigger words also become great anchor texts for link building, guys.
Oh gosh, yeah. And don't just be afraid, because obviously there's hundreds in here, even if they showed up one time. But yeah, if to Bradley's point, anchor text or even content ideas or even blog topics. I mean, you could look at this in a whole bunch of different ways. And one of the most exciting things, having built this software, that Rob and I have seen so far, is we've worked with a variety of customers, all different industries, all different niches, and how they're using the data, shop to shop, person to person, freelancer to freelancer, it's totally different. It's really fun because people are doing all sorts of stuff with this data now to, better whatever it is that they're working on. So don't be afraid. What this is a really semantically awesome, tight, perfect data set to then use in whatever it is that you're doing. And we could talk more about ideas in the future on that, but I want to keep going on the modules just for the sake of time, right? So if there's more questions, please let us know. So analysis and matrix are the core offerings of Content Maxima. They are, the pride and joy, the cream, like or I should say they're probably like the beef or the meat. They really allow you to build a strategy, go to market with it, or help optimize whoever, right? So it's those two reports can do so much, which is why when we sell the software, we sell 3 tiers. We sell the analysis by itself, the matrix by itself, or the matrix and the analysis by itself, and then we have all the extras. And we'll get into those extras now. So what these extras are is Rob and I, based off of the entity-based SEO and based off of data science and all the things that we've been working on, we have started to generate other software modules, and we hope you'll love them and get to use them in ways that we're not even thinking yet. But again, just to make things easy for us. So for plumbing services, we'll run in here. We'll do plumbing services this time, Bradley, to be a little bit more specific to your point. So what this is going to do is it's going to go out and it's going to generate over 3,500 different personas or ideal customers for plumbing services. So what we're forcing the AI to do is you could all go into ChatGPT or Claude or whatever and say, give me 20 people who would need plumbing services, and it'll generate you a list. And I'm sure you can do okay with that list. But if you really want to, again, dominate a market or really find the holes that you're missing or the opportunities that you're missing, we're forcing the AI in this to brainstorm personas from 177 different lenses. So the way I could describe this to you would be like wearing pairs of glasses. Like the first set of glasses are slightly blue tinted. The next pair of glasses slightly rose tinted. The third pair of glasses are real dark, like, they block a lot of light. They have a real high UV rating. The fourth glasses are completely transparent and see-through. So you're looking at the same thing, but just through a different lens. So we're forcing the AI to come up with personas from all these different angles. And then what we do is we tally, because unlike exact keyword matches, in a program that has keywords, you can, find duplicates and remove them very easily. But because we're forcing the AI to brainstorm and it's going to pull back all sorts of data, again, 3,500 different points here, you're not going to be able to just quickly remove or see duplicates or see where the emphasis is. So that's why we've, attacked it from so many different angles, and we've tallied the words that show up together a lot. So we're looking for doubles, like semantic doubles, semantic triples, quadruples, quintuples. Now, quintuples and quadruples are like more your long-term concepts or keywords around a persona. So it takes a little bit of putting on your thinking cap when you see this, because it's not necessarily precisely the order at which these words showed up in the personas tab, right? But what it's telling you here is, hey, children plus families plus with plus young appeared in 5 of these brainstorms we had doing the ideal customer profiles. So what we know is that it's what? Families with young children. You're going to have to flip that around in your mind and decipher what's coming up. But what this essentially tells you is we know these large language models have gone out and trained on the internet and are now actively scraping and learning and reading books and training on YouTube videos and all this stuff, right? There's all these copyright lawsuits happening now. We know that all that's going on. What we're doing here is we're kind of punching the AI in the gut and saying, look, I know you have a bunch of ideas in there. I don't want you just to give me 25 quick ideas. I want you to spill your guts. And then I want to look at everything you spilled out and I want to see where the emphasis is. Because if I know where the emphasis is, then I know where the market is. I know where, no matter where the person was or company was located, I know, where they're making their money. So plumbing services, what would be a really big, place to make money with plumbing services? Well, obviously real estate. So whether that's real estate management companies or real estate agents or just real estate homeowners, like business owners, you are going to make most of your money in real estate. So again, it says estate plus real. You're going to have to flip it around in your head and say, okay, this means real estate. But this gives you the ideas of where your ideal personas are, where your ideal customers are. And it's stuff that you don't always think of. We were working with a couple guys earlier, and they were doing like bounce house rental stuff, and weddings kept coming up. I'm like, I know that there's tons of bounce house rentals for birthdays, but I hadn't really thought about weddings being a niche that you could go after. So it's like you will find gems in here of, there's definitely stuff that you already cover. Like if you know your industry, you're going to say, yeah, of course, Ed, of course, real estate people are going to give me plumbing jobs. I know that. But what you're looking for is the stuff that you don't know or you've forgotten about or haven't considered. And so this just lets you build out an ideal persona brainstorm, and it does it at such a large scale capacity because we want to give you a real good sliver of data. We don't want to just come up with 10 ideas. That's why it's over 3,500 of them from all these different angles. And you can go through these angles. If you really wanted to learn more, you could say, hey, why would they, be considering decision makers for plumbing services? Well, because those are the people who can pay me, right? So you can go one by one through these columns, but if you don't want to go through all that, you don't want to get super technical, we've tried to make it as easy as possible by just, hey, we're going to paint everything that has the most attention in green and yellow and then red. So you can decide who you want to target. And again, you can go down the doubles, triples, quadruples. This is one of the most powerful persona or ideal customer generators on the market. Because when we were building this, we were looking at all the ones that are out there, the features, and just how far they push the ideas. Now that we have AI, I think the beauty is the beauty in AI is the combinations of things that you've never tried before, and being able to sequence things in new and interesting ways and get better results that you would have never gotten without the AI. So this is, yeah, go ahead, Bradley.
Ed, I was just going to jump in and just say, man, I've been working with tree service contractors and in that industry doing marketing and SEO for over 10 years now. And this personas module opened up so many different opportunities that I had never even thought of, that for direct response marketing campaigns, direct to those buyer persona types, like golf course maintenance managers, homeowner association property or homeowner association managers, project or property managers for commercial and also residential communities and things like that. I kind of knew that one, but some of the other one, I mean, it's just incredible. Like I don't want to get too far ahead, but man, learning about all these different buyer personas and seeing, like, identifying ones that I was unaware of, and then training an AI chat around that buyer persona, you can craft content, copy specifically addressing them for, that's not even SEO related, like just direct response marketing, could be direct mail, cold email, social media outreach, anything at all, but specifically developed to that particular buyer persona type. I was just floored with this. This is one of my favorite tools out of all of the tools in the application, is that one right there. I love that tool.
And add one more thing that just jumped out on me, right? Because I've messed in plumbing more than other stuff. So
Yeah.
in column C9, so smart home enthusiasts, right? I would have never thought of smart home enthusiasts when I'm thinking about plumbing, right? But with all the new tools or whatever that like all the different stuff in plumbing, all those type of things, we can do the same thing with smart home. Like, so these are people who are trying to make their home smart based on, there's plumbing fixtures now that measure the amount of water you're using, that measure the amount of salt in a soft water generator, that measure the flow rate, that there's also switches that if all of a sudden you've got a lot more gallons per minute going through than you ever have, it'll turn it off. So that right there is a whole micro niche within people who are looking to remodel or to update their home to make it a smart home. There's a little niche just in plumbing right there around people who are wanting to install those little widgets onto all their plumbing fixtures so then they can, control, well, I'm not going to be home this weekend, so let's turn down my water heater, right, from their phone. Let's turn off the water softener. Okay, I want the water softener to notify my phone whenever the salt level is low. Like all these different things. Just that one right there, I never would have thought of. That fits into the plumbing niche where you can go after a whole nother subsect of a specific type and talk about that whole area of plumbing on what are all the different type of water heaters, water softeners, smart controllers that you can interact with your phone to let you know different things that are going on just within your home around plumbing, which seems weird, but they have all those tools now. So
Dude, you're so right because my house flooded right before Christmas last year. And one of the things I didn't install, but we were considering it, was one of those auto off switches because I'm on a slab. I don't have a basement and the water heater busted. And if we had had an auto off switch, I wouldn't have destroyed my whole house and had to have the floors redone. So totally, it's super niche. And what's even cool about this too, you got me thinking about that, is not only could it be people looking for that stuff, you might have an affiliate offer or an e-com store that you could pop around that. But then I just think about if I'm a normal plumber, I'm Ed the plumber, and I'm trying to differentiate, I'm trying to make myself stand out. Well, now I do smart home installs. I don't just come fix your pipes. I make sure that I'm going to put devices on those pipes that ping you on an app and let you know, hey, Rob, you got to stop taking showers this month, man. You're really killing your water bill. Like maybe that's some cool package I can throw together into my offering. So yeah, it just opens your eyes to so much. And again, we ran that off of one word or one idea, the plumbing services. You could come in here and run a couple dozen of these and you would just have just enormous data sets that you could then crunch down and really just find nuggets of gold. So I'll keep going. Perspective. So it's hard when we have this game plan now. You got a blueprint, you got some trigger words you're going to use, we got some, ideas of the types of customers we want to target. I just have always suffered from like burnout. And most people I know that are trying to do content or build an agency that does content or content for their small business, like you're like, I just got done plumbing. I don't have time to think of a freaking blog article idea. I don't have it in me. So this brainstorming tool, and if I could type. So Perspectives is a brainstorming tool, and you'll get to know these different categories. We tried to, put them in, I guess, groups or clusters that go together, but you can just come in and click all categories to run it. This actually inspired the personas module because the first couple columns in here are some call out personas that you can market to. But then after that, it gets into all the buyer behaviors, the, psychology, the buyer psychology side of things, all different ideas that you can turn into content. So one of the ones Bradley was interested in, I think we got like voice search in here for voice search assistance and ideas. So yeah, these first couple columns, you'll see they have like the most common personas, and I just lost that. Hold on. So we started off most common personas, most profitable personas, most likely to convert, uncommon personas, and then it starts going into the psychographics, the interests, the behaviors, the intents, the pain points, right? Some of the salesy type Sandler training ways of looking at content. So this just gives you, again, in one click, over 1,000 blog ideas or content ideas. And again, the focus of this is to help you in this content journey, to inspire you, to give you ideas fast so you can just keep pumping it out, right? Because if you don't generate one of these, for you to come up with 1,000 ideas, you couldn't even do it in chat, right? Because I can't go into chat or Claude right now and say, generate me a list of 1,000 ideas. Like it'll eventually cut out, it'll start repeating itself and hallucinate. It does weird stuff. So this module is just to really make it so you never hit a creative block again. You're going to say, I know what to talk about. Or even coming in here, since there's 1,000 ideas in here, if I know I'm looking for that one specific thing, like smart home or whatever, I don't know if smart comes in here at all. Let's see. Smart leak detection systems, revolutionizing home safety by detecting leaks before they cause damage. There's what Rob was just talking about. So that's a great blog article idea that's you could reinforce in here to your smart plumbing installation page or your new package that you offer, and it reinforces that entity, it reinforces that idea. So it's just a treasure trove of ideas for you. And it's from, again, all different angles. This is 52 different considerations that's generating all these ideas. And each one of these columns we show you, like in the matrix, like in the personas, like here, they're the way you can look at it is they're their own mini little programs, their own little agents that go out and get these ideas and bring them back for you to make your life as easy as possible. Any questions there?
I just think these tools are freaking amazing, man. I'm telling you that this is a marketing tool. Like the amount of data that it brings back to be able to develop specific marketing messages is just unbelievable. Like it just makes it so much easier.
So one thought on that too, Bradley, that I had the other day was, especially with the personas, we've always looked at personas differently, but the world's changed. So what I mean by this is, like who are your top 3 customers in tree removal?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
who were they? Like give me the top 3 if you don't mind.
Oh, homeowners, business owners, and then usually some sort of state, like highway department, things like that. Those are the 3 that tree service contractors get contracted by the most: homeowners, business owners, and then usually state or utility contractors.
Yeah, interesting. So like in that personas area, yeah, you're gonna know those things when they come up, but just to know those other areas and to be able to expand against them and
Yeah.
increase your monthly revenue is unstoppable in there. And to your point, we haven't gotten there and we're getting near there, but all these modules export data. Then once you have this data, that's when like the fun and exciting and cool stuff, and that's where we're building more than software here, because this is totally going to be a community of people sharing what they're doing and the processes that they're using these different reports. And to your point, Bradley, which AI are you dumping these reports into? Because the second I put a whole batch of reports that's super specific and targeted into a language model and start to train it, it knows and it performs so much better than you would have ever thought it could have, because now it has the data to perform better. I think the hardest part, the whole world right now, is trying to build AI chatbots and AI automation and this and that, right? And there's all these tools out there to do it. But where people aren't focusing their time is on the training. Like everybody can build an AI agent, but the agent that's going to do the best is the one who's trained the best, the one that not only has more data, but let's be very clear, clean data, formatted data, specific, data, not dirty data where there's extra characters and extra stuff that you scraped off a website in it. So that's where the whole world's going, is those personas. You would say, I could never advertise to 3,500 personas, I don't have it in me. Well, now it's basically just marketing settings, because you could, with that personas output, with a little bit of scripting, you could put it up into Google AdSense, right? And have custom written messages to every one of those persona types and do some sort of like bulk ad optimization. Nobody's just done it yet. It's a wide open free way to do it. Can you imagine not being afraid of personas, because you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to market to every persona and I'm just going to treat it as an advertising setting, not as this whole thing that I have to go out and reinvent the wheel, right? I'm just going to just focus on a message that's crafted for them. So pathways is basically your funnel, your customer journey, right? So we take that ideal persona and your entity that you're focused on. So we'll do, it was if I can type plumbing services, and then let's say like property managers as a persona, right? So what it's going to do is it's going to consider that persona and their entire journey to getting plumbing services And depending on who you listen to, if you've come out of like ClickFunnels, Russell Brunson, that whole arena, or you've come out of more traditional sales training and you've heard about funnels, there's different a different number of tiers in any funnel. So like if we do sales funnel image quick, some of them are going to say there's 6 stages. Some of them are going to say there's 4 stages. Some of them are going to say there's 12 stages. The idea isn't to worry about how many stages there are. It's to just realize that you're nurturing this lead or this person through this process, kind of onboarding them so that they become your customer. So this document, this pathways document, helps you come up with that journey, and it gives you ideas as to where you're going to get people at each stage of these journeys, what kind of behavior they're doing, and then what you can do with your messaging to get in front of those people and to resonate with those people. So if we are a property manager considering plumbing services, right? That's what this is. It's a journey map for a property manager seeking plumbing services. Where am I going to get in touch with you? Well, industry conferences, social media ads, networking events, and maybe email newsletters. What is it that you're doing if you're a property manager? Well, you're seeking reliable services, right? You're just gathering information at this point because it's the awareness stage. And maybe you're subscribing to a couple newsletters, local plumbers or an association or whatever, to figure out who it is you need to hire. So your messaging strategy here, you could create by property managers specifically. So you'll use story-based copywriting, highlight service reliability, some of the past successes like a case study, offer maybe a lead magnet. So preventative plumbing maintenance for property managers. That's very, very specific. That's how you're going to get the property manager. So again, this is to that persona. This isn't just for anybody. So up at the top, persona, property managers. So that's the awareness stage of the funnel. We've included interest, consideration, decision, conversion, and we've added a couple more that not everyone does, but retention and loyalty, because I think depending on your niche or your business type, it is a good exercise to ask yourself, hey, I'm a plumber. How can I get loyal customers, not just new customers? How do I get the customer that's going to call me back for the next 25 years? I don't think everybody's always thinking that way. So that's why we've added these extra funnel stages. What's great about this document is you can give it to a marketing assistant. You can read it and align yourself specifically for this persona. If you're going to write an article, you can get some ideas out of here. Or to Bradley's point, you can feed this to your AI chatbot, your model that you're training, and it's a nice outline explaining this persona at every step of the way and how you would engage with them and how you would get them more interested to go to the next step. Now the AI doesn't say, well, gosh, how do we talk to that property manager? Now it literally has the footprint here, the journey mapped out. So all it has to do is write it so that you can win the customer. So it's a great way to go after those specific personas. You're now, if you said, hey, I got these 20 personas I want to go after real quickly. It's not, what do I write on the landing page? How do I get their awareness? No. We just did all the research for you. This is what AI sees out in the world working for property managers being sold plumbing services. So we've already ground that down for you so you don't have to worry. So you're just plugging in, again, the entity that you have, the persona from your persona sheet that you want, and it's spitting out that funnel. And again, what you do with that funnel, it's up to you, right? Maybe it's a landing page, maybe it's an email drip sequence, maybe it's something else. There's no limit to how that data can be used.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I got to jump in on this one more time too, man. This is
Please.
something that I found, really powerful, and I'm doing some testing and setup with it now with tree service stuff, is to generate, an AI chat, train an AI chat on a buyer persona with the different stages of the sales cycle, and then create messaging for each different stage of the cycle. Now, I'm not doing all 7 that are currently in the journey map, because not most of my tree guys don't have kind of like 7 different, stages of services or or sales cycles.
Right.
There's not that many. In fact,
Right.
one of my tree service contractors actually developed a maintenance plan service, and I've kind of helped him develop that based upon some of the stuff that's come out of Content Maxima, which is the first tree guy I've ever worked with that came up with maintenance plans, like which is like you subscribe on an either a monthly or an annual basis, and you get a certain amount of tree care services per, per level of subscription or whatever. But anyways, what I was getting at was, depending on like what type of software you're using, like whether it's high level or instantly, because I use instantly for cold email, things like that, you can have different, like almost like Active Campaign or any sort of email marketing service that is more advanced, that has triggers and things like that. You can have different messages built in, kind of autoresponders that are already available depending on what actions the visitor or the reader, the recipient takes on either the website. Because remember, guys, there's now the technology that will extract contact information from website visitors. And it's like 30 or 40% of all website visitors now, you can actually get their contact information, whether they submit a form or not. And so when you integrate that type of analytics with this type of messaging to where you have triggers based upon which pages they visit, which emails they've opened, things like that, you can actually automate which messages are being sent to the visitor or the consumer based upon where they are in the sales cycle. And so that's why I said, like, I think this tool is incredible because it really does take all the guesswork away, and it gives you the exact blueprint for developing all these messages. Where before, reason why I never did it before is because the amount of trial and error that would have gone in to figuring out all of that out was never worth it. I couldn't get a tree guy to pay me enough to do it. But now that we have this tool here that can do it, like, it's just a matter of training the AI chats to then develop the messaging and then building the automations. Once it's done, it's done. Now you've got a full system that can really speak to the specific buyer depending on what cycle they are in the sales journey. And I just, again, I think it's incredibly powerful, man. This is something that I'm doing for my tree guys. It's a lot of work to set up, but once it's set up, it's going to allow me to scale and provide a lot of additional offers, service offerings to my tree contractors.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're able to template some of this stuff, right, Bradley? You can't, of course, copy paste verbatim 100%, but you can very much mix in their offerings, their contact information, their geolocation, and you can
Correct.
have some of these journeys already designed. And if you did any automations, to your point, it's just copy paste to the next client's account.
That's correct.
It's and so that's the beauty of this, is the scalability of it. And again, people who are afraid of that scalability, like, this does take the heavy lifting out of it. And that's why you'll see in the software interface, like, Rob and I kept it so easy. Like, most of these modules, you're just putting in a word and clicking a button. Like, we don't want you, because if you're on these other SEO softwares and stuff, it gets so complex. People are they're overrun with numbers and things that they can do. And it's overwhelming. And we don't want you to go wrong in your journey. We want to make this as, dummy idiot proof as possible. If you have no idea what any of this stuff means, export the reports and then just browse them and see if it brings you any value, if it brings you any ideas, if it brings you, your next money-making opportunity. So signatures. So signatures, what's funny about these modules is, again, after designing analysis and matrix, these other features kind of came out of the research of building those first ones. And I came across this idea of linguistic signatures. And the example I gave to Bradley, because most people don't know what a linguistic signature is. I sure as heck didn't. I'm not going to act smarter than everybody because I had no idea. But if I said to you guys, shiver me timbers, yar, who am I? I'm a pirate. So that phrase, shiver me timbers, is a linguistic signature to pirates. Like, you don't hear business people going around saying that. Like, it wouldn't work. So what this module is doing, no matter what niche, no matter what industry, no matter what idea, it's looking for those super unique signature words or phrases or ideas that, if you were authoritative, if you knew what you were talking about, you can't miss talking about this stuff here. We did another example. I'll do plumbing services again, just to keep on theme. Rob and I did one for, was it soccer, Rob? And I don't know anything about soccer. Rob's a soccer player. And there were a couple words that came up that were literally play formations. And again, me not being a soccer guy, I would have had no clue about these words, such as I think it was a nutmeg, is some sort
Yeah.
of is it a formation or is it a play? Rob, tell me. I'm not the soccer guy.
So a nutmeg is when somebody comes at you with their legs wide open, out of control. So I can play the ball through your legs and still get around you. It's like the ultimate in embarrassment to a defender.
Gotcha. So it's a move to get through the defender's legs and to continue on to go score the goal.
Yeah, and embarrass the hell out of them while you're doing
All right, so you got
it.
nutmegged as a bad thing.
Yes, as a defender, if you get nutmegged, that's kind of like it's the equivalent of if someone gets postered in basketball. If someone dunks on you and you try to block them at the rim, it's the same thing. You come up all big and tough as a defender, and the offensive guy does something to make you spread your legs so wide he can put the ball through your legs while still getting around you. It's kind of like that type of thought process. And we stumbled across that because I was just running these as I was making my code work, and I sent Ed one of the things, and he's like, "What do these words even mean?" And I said, well, if I was talking to you about soccer and you didn't know what these words meant, I would automatically instantly know you knew nothing about soccer. So you can kind of, by having these terms of this linguistic modeling of the way people talk in that industry, it can help you kind of fit in if you don't completely know. So you can kind of like be a chameleon. You can start to fit in before you really understand what you're even talking about.
So fake it until you make it.
Pretty much, right? So like I'm sure if you talk to someone who's looking for tree services and they don't know what you mean when you say, I know what a word would be, but like, well, you need to trim the trees. I'm sure there's a term that they'd use, the way they cut the branch, cut it either straight off or an angle or whatever. If you're a true arborist, right? Like you're really into that, you know the best way to trim trees so that it doesn't kill the branch and all these different things. And if you're talking to other arborists, right, the really good tree service folk and they don't know those terms, you're already going to know, okay, they're not that good, right?
Yeah, it's a great way to head into a networking event and sound like you know what you're talking about. So I would totally test this out in like Vegas at an industry show. I would go to an industry I have no idea, and I would drop a couple of these words and see if I could blend right in. I mean, I'm sure at some point you'll get discovered, but the best part is you guys are SEO guys and digital marketing guys. It's to help you really resonate for the client. When the client says, "Well, you don't know plumbing," yeah, we do. We really do because the software tells us exactly what to say and what to include. So,
And let me jump in here real quick again to bring this full circle, right? We're writing all this to fit into graphical databases, right? So if you're a soccer website and you never mention the word nutmeg and you're talking about different soccer things and different goings on in soccer, and that's never mentioned anywhere on your page, all the language models and the algorithms, they're going to recognize that. Okay, this site who's supposedly the best expert in soccer that's ever existed, and they don't know like these core concepts to like diehard soccer players, you stand out in a bad way, right? So we're not necessarily meaning to go walk up to a bunch of soccer players and just start dropping random words, but have these random words sprinkled into your website because you're trying to get the algorithms, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Google, Bing, any of them, understand that you really know the topic because you're using even insider language.
thank you for clarifying that, Rob. So, yeah, my example was to kind of take it to the real world, and he brought it back to the digital world. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
that
Well, I mean,
essential thing.
yours would be fun, but I'm just saying, even if you don't know what these
Yeah,
words mean,
yeah.
put them on your website. Google knows that these words should be somewhere on a website about soccer or plumbing or whatever the topic is. So,
Well, and you're so much more likely, like especially like let's say you wrote a blog article about I don't know 10 of the best moves in soccer. Like I would just think we don't know because we gotta go do research. But if you dropped nutmeg in the title of that blog, like it's just semantically going to trigger because you're talking about soccer play types, nutmegs in the title, and maybe it's number 8 on the page of coolest soccer moves you can do. You got nutmeg, you got the bicycle kick, you got the headbutt, like maybe it's like a listicle, right? I'm just
yep.
saying this to give people some ideas. So
Yep.
all right, to keep this going. So we have another module called socials. This is again to alleviate the heavy lift. I don't know about you guys, but when you get all these different customers and different industries and different niches, and this one has a Facebook page, and this one has a TikTok page, and this one has Twitter, it just gets overwhelming. So I needed a way, and I made this before Rob helped me code it. I just needed a way to bulk generate quick social media posts to get me started, because yes, I want to go in and edit and add in some of my trigger words, and maybe add in some emojis depending on the platform, and I want to do all this stuff. But I, with my marketing assistant and team and stuff, it was just getting inundated with having to write the posts. And I was like, what if we could just have the AI bulk post for us? So if you've written an article, you can upload that article. If you haven't written an article, you can just put in a text, like a word. But essentially, you'll choose a article. And let me see, I'm going to have to find one here, Rob. I know I have one somewhere.
Yeah, right now the Word one's not updated. That's something we're
It's
going to
okay.
possibly add because we've had some people request it. And a funny part on this one, we didn't originally keep this, but this was in our original beta, was to do this. And we thought, well, we don't want to be content writers because that's more, this falls into writing content. And we were begged to keep it. So we, in a joking way, you have to go to settings and activate this mode. And we called it Mork mode because it was one of the people that was asking us
You're
to
getting
keep
ahead
it.
of
So,
yourself. The outlines. The outlines.
oh, my bad.
It's okay. We're going to show them that next too. So we are going to help you with your social media posts, and we're going to help you with article outlines. Because again, if you're trying to write a bunch of articles, it's such a pain to just get outlines again, you're going to edit them. You're going to put them through your own writing process. No two agency owners I've ever talked to in my life have the same writing process. Some use text, some use VA, some use AI, some use, there's all different stacks that people use to get their articles done. So let me see here. I have an article. It is lettuce tomato, I think. It's a BLT article. It's just what I have. So I can say, hey, I need Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and I need 5 posts for each of those platforms. So what it's going to do is it's going to read my article. It's going to find some of the call outs, the highlights, the interesting facts, the things that can be used on these social platforms, and it's going to generate me posts so that I don't have to do it. And again, it's just to save time, because if you're dealing with agency environment, you have all these different customers, all these different accounts, all these different personas. It's so overwhelming to just have a base. So I don't expect the social media posts here to, blow you away, because you probably do them in a different way than we do here. But the reason we built this tool is there's so many people who don't have a process, who don't have things figured out yet, but they just need help to get something out there, to get some traction. Well, you can have your social media posts generated in bulk. So I said I needed 5 posts for each platform. The software knows the platforms and the limits of that platform and how to structure a post for that platform. These cells, it just looks like text, but obviously if you come in here, we'll copy the whole thing out so we can actually see. But it's longer than what you can see. So yeah, discover how lettuce and tomato elevate your BLT sandwich from ordinary to extraordinary. Learn about their rich histories, nutrition, and how they can be grown at home, ready to add some crunch and tang to your life. So it's a way for my bacon, lettuce, tomato article, a way for me to promote it quickly, easily, diversely, right? Across platforms. That whole omni-channel play now, that's wicked hard to do. Even big brands struggle. It takes a ton of resources to be able to post something across all the different platforms. But now with this tool, the hope is that we just can bulk things ahead of time. You still might take these posts. I expect you to. I would encourage you to go next and optimize them further, and to, like I said, add the emojis, maybe make an image for each one, really push this further. But there's just so many people. You got to understand where you're at isn't where everybody's at, that just, they freeze, right? They get locked up. Like, I don't know what to post on Facebook. I wrote this article. Now what? What do I do? Well, throw it in the social generator, promote your article across your socials, and maybe you'll get some traction for it, right? So that's why the article, or that's why this post generator was created. And then Rob was jumping ahead and he wanted to tell you about the secret module that we put in here. So above and beyond what you see, if you go under settings of your Content Maxima account, this is where you put in your API key, your tier. There's this activate Mork mode. this is a super powerful module, but it's not for everybody. It might be for you. So you'll update your profile. It says profile updated successfully. When you
I
come
was
back
wondering
out,
what the hell that was for, and I was afraid to click it because there's like, what's this red button do? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
so some of you guys might know Jeff Mork. He's been around semantic mastery webinars and stuff for years. But yeah, he was our customer early supporter, and he was like, "Hey, I just really loved that outline generator you guys had. Don't get rid of it." So again, Rob and I are trying to get away from all the writers. We don't want to compete with all these writing apps and all these AIs. What we want to do is we want to open people's eyes to the fact that if you can be better understood by the machines, all of your marketing, doesn't matter what platform it's on, is gonna lift. So the outline feature that we kept for him, you either put in a term or you put in a file. I'll put in a file. So I'm gonna put in the original, and just so I'm very clear as to what this is, I'm gonna put in the original plumbing analysis we ran together on the webinar earlier today. This one that says plumbing, pipes, fittings, right? Had 25 primary nodes, 5 secondary nodes. What this module is going to do is it's going to look at those nodes and it's going to generate you article outlines. I need plumbing analysis. Where are you? Plumbing analysis.
Okay.
Here we go.
And
So
these files are analysis files.
right, it has to be generated out of the analysis module because of the formatting. If you tried to do this on your own, you'd break it because it's just not following the right template. But yeah, you upload that file. Or again, if you don't have the template or you don't have analysis run, you could just do it off of a term. We tried to make it available to anybody. But it's right now writing me 25 quite comprehensive outlines, article outlines for me, so that again, if I was launching a brand new plumbing brand, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to write about? I don't know how to put this all together. Well, you're just going to take that analysis report, drop it in here to outlines, and let it do its thing, and it will create you a very semantic outline. Now, of course, you're going to get the outline and say, oh, maybe this is missing or that's missing, or I don't like this or whatever. This is just your base. We want to help you go faster. We want to help you be more successful. We've been in the weeds and we needed a way to just move faster. So in this first column is the node from the analysis report. And the second column is the full outline. And again, it doesn't look like it's a lot until you actually click in and copy the whole thing out of that cell. But this is also going to allow people, okay, it's a pretty robust outline about what concept should be covered, gives even subheadings and some of the points to cover, right? This is going to give people the opportunity as we're all moving into agentic AI and automation with AI. But like for people who just feel like I've never been able to do what other agencies or brands do, this is going to give you that leg up because all of a sudden, how many seconds did we wait? I don't know, 15 seconds? And we have 25 outlines that again I can just go flip this to my writer now, or I can go drop this into my AI app, or I can go, again, pass it off to my VA or my nephew who writes for us or whatever. Like it's done for you, and it's again based off those nodes, so the foundation of the article. This is the core, was based off the data science stuff. This isn't based off of the search engines. You still might want to go out and I don't know what you do, whatever optimization softwares you do, you might want to run them on this and add in other stuff if you're fighting for the front page of Google. But that same theory applies if you were also going to use this outline to write an article for LinkedIn instead, because it's just as valuable and valid to use this outline someplace else. So it's just to help you guys go as fast as possible, because it's super overwhelming to be omni-channel, and the big guys really have this huge advantage over us because they can apply all their algorithms to us. So all of this planning and stuff we're doing is really before any of it's live and being put through the algorithms, but we know it's giving us the best shot, the best scientific shot to content. Questions, other things? Rob might have one goodie to show you. I don't know. We can show him a goodie.
Yeah, a couple questions. I think we kind of covered of them, but I'll go through them in case you want to add anything that we didn't. But one of them says, Should you deploy a city or state within the service category, or just start with the service in a broad context? I'll give you my answer. This is more for the research side. So start with the broad term, right? Because you want to get the base of the broad service context that you're working in. And then you can basically sprinkle in the city and the state and things like that. That's kind of how I think about it.
Yeah,
we're going before we even go for every single page.
Yeah, I tested with that, doing several runs with location modifiers and without, and I feel it returns better results without location modifiers, and then you just add that in afterwards.
Yeah, and the next one says explain how to use to optimize a location page or service. This will help you build the base page, and then you can, like Bradley was just saying, add those location modifiers later.
Yeah, because in your area of the world, wherever it is, the AI and algorithms are going to be looking again for the authoritative person to recommend. And so if you have that footprint, then, you know, you also have your geolocation stuff, your GBP, your NAP, name, address, phone number, that kind of stuff. It's treating them separately to some capacity, because one is like the glossary of what you know, and one is like who you are, right? And it's the association of those two things that creates the power of being found and recommended and ultimately paid.
Yeah, and the next one says, great tools. Have you all compared the keyword generated to like SEMrush or other keyword volume search tools?
So no, and the reason we don't do that is we're not an SEO tool. Does a lot of our research come out of the SEO industry, and from what we learned from it? Yes. Are we SEO guys, Rob and I? Yes. We spent countless hours on tests, and we're all for SEO. But what this tool is far greater on a macro level than an SEO tool. So we can't compare the keywords that SEMrush or Ahrefs or whatever is doing, because they're only looking at Google search engine result pages. They're only looking at Google. We're not only looking at Google. We're literally making models which have read Google, read Facebook, watched YouTube videos, read libraries of books, like, right? Like the original ChatGPT, correct me if I'm wrong, you can Google this, but it read 15% of the internet to build its original training data set. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but 15% of the visible web is like 68 billion, because I think there's 400 billion pages in the active index of Google alone. So it read 15% of those 400 billion pages. That was the starting point. And if you remember, chat hasn't been always up to date with its information, because it kind of had that snapshot that it started from. But of course, over the course of time, they've been releasing new models. There's more and more users using it. There's all sorts of new information being pumped out online, and these models are training on that new information that's online. So all of that goes into this too. So we can't look at an individual silo like SEO. We have to look at all different platforms and anything that's running natural language processing, which is basically everything, because natural language processing is how the robots read your blog articles and social media posts. It's how they take your orders. Like if you use your AI assistant, voice assistant, you say, hey Siri, or hey whoever, or whatever, hey Google Assistant. When you give it instructions, your instructions are being transcribed to text, and then that text is being run through natural language processing. Same thing with videos and images. They get processed for entities and identifiable things, and then they get a little database that's attached to that image or video of the entities that are in it. And again, it's natural language processing. So that's the only explanation I can give you as to why we're not even in the same world as a SEO tool, because really we're kind of the first tool on the market to target natural language processing, which is why we say you can actually optimize before someone applies their algorithm to you, because I can make the machine understand you better so that whatever it is you put out in the world, it has more clarity and it knows what to do with you. I think most of the reason the world has trouble getting business and being found is that they do something cute or savvy, so they think, and they bury themselves. There was a little local baker and said, we bake sweet creations. They never got any business. And you know why? Because the bots, the algorithms, they don't know what a sweet creation is. They can guess, but maybe you do cupcakes, or maybe you do wedding cakes, or maybe you're a candy store, maybe you're a chocolate factory. How is it supposed to know what you do by saying we do sweet creations? It doesn't know. So then what happens? You just get tabled, you get sidelined, because it's got to come back to you at some point and say, hey, I'm going to go back to that bakery or chocolate factory, or wait, I don't know what it is, and try to figure it out. It's wasting all its time trying to figure you out. Once you get rid of the ambiguity and say, hi, I'm Ed, the baker in New York who's world famous for wedding cakes, birthday cakes, and boozy cupcakes. Now I've given it such clarity, and it knows exactly who I am and what I do. So then it can recommend me for those things. It's just too much ambiguity out there. So I know it was a long response, but hopefully it gives you some insight into how we differ from an SEO tool, because an SEO tool is only looking at the search engines. We're looking at the natural language processing that's powering the search engines, the social media platforms, the large language models, all of these agentic AI, everything basically. Nobody talks about it. But the one secret technology that powers everything online and everything you do is called natural language processing.
Well, that was outstanding. I don't see any other questions, guys. So what's the offer? And we can wrap it up, man. Oh, unless Rob had something he was going to share. I think
You might have a quick thing.
you teased it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to show you something that we're working on, right? This is still a work in progress, so I'll go quick.
Let me stop share.
Yeah. Share screen. Here we go. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a video visualizer, is what we're calling it right now. We may have a better name, I don't know. Ed leaves me to, if I name stuff, I literally name what it does, and that's the name it gets. So this is video intelligence visualizer, right? I went ahead and pre-ran this. Obviously, my buttons aren't even working. You can see it's still on my local host, so it's not live yet, but I just want to give you guys an idea of some of the other things we're working on that'll be eventually part of wherever we put it. We're not even sure yet. But basically what you'll do is you'll click when the button works. You'll upload a file here, and you'll choose that file and hit submit. And what it does is it sends that video to the language models and to several different APIs to process the video, the text, and what's being seen. And then it brings back and it shows you what's Google seeing and what are these other things seeing when they see your video. So this is what you kind of get back. It's going to come back looking like this. Obviously, it's still work in progress. Check circle shouldn't be visible, but it just checks to show what you're looking at. But anyway, that's beside the point. So it uploads the video, and then as you hit play, so I've got object tracking on. You'll see Google sees as they see your video. Hit play here. There we go. So you see the
Oh, that's cool. It's showing the entities.
It's showing all the entities that is being picked up in your video.
That's
so
insane.
It's showing person. There's a boat, right? It's showing this person in a t-shirt. Here's another person. This is an overall person wearing a t-shirt, right? So this is what happens on your videos when these models are tracking your videos. So like this person that's walking toward us, it's a person. They got their vest on that looks like a life jacket. Here's another person. Here's a boat. Here it's because it's so far away, right? It could be a car, could be a boat. You'll see as it continues to picks up that is a boat, right? So now that's coming into view better. It starts to track actually what all is going on in your video. So these are just some of the additional tools that we're working on to help you even better understand, right? And again, what we do with this information is giving you the data that you have. Some of the brainstorming that Ed and I have thought is that, okay, if I process someone's video who's doing real good, and down here you can see, well, the analysis picked up that sees a boat 86 times in here. It sees the top, so whatever top is. So like when it's the top of a person, like from their hips up, right? It thought there was a car, right? It sees people wearing a shirt, a t-shirt, life jacket, right? If you see a bunch of people that are doing really well and they have these terms in their video that's being picked and you don't, you may need to modify your video to better make sure you're getting all the entities that it sees into your videos as well, right? How we use that data, how we build our videos, how we do those type of things, it's still a work in progress. We just kind of wanted to demo some of the stuff that we even have coming later. right? So like if we go to person detection, so now it's showing you when it sees the people. It shows you the outline, so there's shoulders, waist. You can push this up or down, right? So how confident is it? It's at a whatever 0.23 confidence level that that's a person. If you go way up here, it's not sure because it hasn't 100% identified that that's a person yet. But you can see, okay, yeah, that definitely looks like a person. We're not 100% sure yet, right? But as you play the video, it goes every time it thinks it sees a person, right? So now there's a person, right? It hasn't picked up this guy yet. There's a person right here. So now it's all three people in that same shot, right? So these are the different pieces, like face detection. It shows you each time it thinks it picked up a face, shows you the images of the faces it saw. It shows you text detection. So down here, it shows you what words it's picked up on your screen, at what point in the video it saw those words, stuff like that. So that piece that's coming down the pipes on as we continue to build out how do we better harness this data to better feed the bots exactly what they're looking for and what kind of information we can let them know. Like this guy here, it picked up. I mean, he's a little healthy, so it definitely thought this is definitely the top side of a person. Would have been real bad if it would have mistaken this guy for a boat. Then we might have had to have a talk with that guy, right?
Yeah.
Get him on some keto or something if it mistakes him for a boat. But anyway. So
right on. Well, that's awesome, guys, and I appreciate the thorough presentation. I mean, I learned some from this presentation, even though I've been playing with the tool now for like a month or 6 weeks or whatever. So I appreciate the all the additional information, Ed.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to share one final thing and then we're going to get to the offer. I know we keep going, but why not, right? Let's see here. You guys can see my screen okay?
Not yet.
Not yet. Just because I think this unlocks the idea for people. Like I really think this will
Yeah,
be
it just popped
eye-opening.
up.
All right. So I'm going to show you, I have this custom GPT. It's nothing super fancy, but it's a custom GPT that I trained. And eventually for our customers, we're going to give away stuff like this. Like we're going to keep adding bonuses and there's going to be a lot to come. But we can take those reports that we ran, right? Today. I just have to find the right folder on that. Documents. I need to be in downloads. Let's see. Downloads. I can take the reports I ran today, which were the plumbing services. Let's see. Gotta find all the right ones. Give me 1 second. That's outlines. This is the service matrix. Analysis, perspectives. Okay.
I think you're about to show me what I've been doing manually.
100%. Yeah, I'm sure. So I just took all the reports we ran about plumbing services, the analysis, the matrix, the perspectives, the personas, the pathways, the linguistic signatures. So there's 6 documents I just clicked and dragged into here. And this custom GPT that I have here to better explain what it is, and I'll show you a little behind the scene magic quick, but if we go to GPTs, my GPTs, everybody's going to want this now, but I want you to see that this is not like your normal GPT that people do. Like it has like 20 training files, and I've really trained it on the flow of our data that comes out of our software. So you could take your reports now, throw it in here, and what it's going to do is it's going to use all of those super semantically tight data sets to help you do whatever it is that you want to do. So if you're writing a landing page or a drip sequence or making a pitch to a customer or whatever, it's now going to use your data, and it's been trained on what each one of those files is and what each one of those columns within those files does. But essentially it's going to ask me, all right, I've loaded in this data, like what are you trying to do? You know, I can say, hey, write me a landing page for plumbing services in Albany, New York, because that's where I am, Albany, New York. So I can then give it a task, and I'm not even like, I haven't trained it to be the best, you know, writer or the best landing page writer. I've just trained it to really, really know the niche, because I've explained to the GPT how to combine these files, how to sequence them, where to look and reference. So it just gives you a really trained bot, and everything down to like your call to actions are going to be very catered, very engineered to how the industry is doing it because it has all this data behind it. So yeah, you're not just going to say call now, you're going to say don't wait until it's a disaster. Contact Albany's most trusted plumbing experts today. So it's going to help you with whatever tasks you are. And this is of course just one GPT. I mean the potential, the reason I want to show you this is like, what if you upload your files to Grok or Claude, or what if you put them in, some other application that lets you, load a vector of files in it. I mean, the possibilities and what are coming down the pipe with AI is so exciting because it's changing so fast. Like we can barely keep up with it. So you guys, I hope you look at our tool as a marketing intelligence tool, not just an SEO tool. We all came out of SEO with you guys. We love SEO. We'll always be talking and jamming about SEO, but we're just at a marketing intelligence level now. And because of these reports, the things people are able to do, training their own models, training their own chatbots, as Bradley said, he's got one that writes for him for specific industries, specific customers. Like you're going to be able to set all that stuff up. And you just saw how quick I click and drag that in here. So imagine running through our software, exporting a bunch of reports real quickly, throwing them into a custom GPT. I have another one that we're working on that'll help you build your GPT, right? So then you could just copy and paste some instructions in, and now all of a sudden you have a marketing bot you could sell. Or again, you got to be doing your social media for your tree client. Well, yeah. Just have it pre-trained to that client, have everything about that client in there, and then you can go at lightning speed. So anyways, all of that stuff is there on the table for you guys. The pricing on all of this. So what's the offer? You guys are going to get super special pricing because you're semantic mastery. And if you come in, I just want you to see there's 3 tiers. So you can get the analyze feature only for 27, the optimize feature, which is the matrix and the analysis, for 57, or the full suite of tools, everything we've showed you and everything to come, right? Like that video module Rob showed you, the reason we want to show that to you is we have a lot of exciting stuff coming down the pipe. Now, whether that stays in Content Maxima or not, I don't know. That's probably going to be its own standalone software. But if you're around us in our community, helping us advance these tools, like we're going to give you access to some of the stuff that we're working on. So Semantic Mastery, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Bradley, they're getting 25% off of however long
the
they
first
want to
payment,
subscribe.
I believe.
The first payment.
Correct.
And I think we have if you do the annual payment, you'll save the 2 months. That's default on the website, just if you wanted to pay for the year up front rather than monthly. But obviously we want you guys to
they still get 25% off the annual if they purchased annually, right? For the first year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how Rob has it set up now. So whatever level of commitment you feel comfortable with, if you want to join us for a full year, we're flattered. Go for it. You're going to save big bucks there. If you want to just subscribe monthly, choose your tier. Again, that's something special we're doing for you guys because we have roots here, but it's not going to be something we're giving out everywhere.
I got to endorse. I mean, I fully endorse this. I'm telling you, this is one of the most powerful marketing tools I've seen, period. I mean it. And its simplicity is why I love it, because Ed just touched on this a few minutes ago. So many SEO tools out there are overwhelming just to run a report because you have to configure all these settings and all this stuff. This is simple, and I love simple because you just plug in a word and boom, it outputs the report, and you just compound one builds off the other, and by the time you're done, you've got your whole marketing plan, all your content needs, all the algorithm trigger words, everything is right there handed to you on a silver platter. And then what Ed just showed you with the custom GPTs that he's making, I've been doing that kind of manually. Now I'm mad at myself for spending all that time doing it manually. but I'm telling you guys, I mean, like this is really changing how I am doing marketing for tree contractors. It's significantly changing it. And I think it's an incredibly powerful tool. I think somebody asked a question about what's the difference between, SEMrush, Keyword Magic Tool, or whatever, and this tool. There's no comparison whatsoever, in my opinion. This is a completely different ball game. So I really fully endorse this, guys. I've been using it a lot in my own business recently. I've even started doing keyword research for some of my link building clients because they've been asking, and I was like, I got this great tool, So I'm telling you guys, I would there's so many other things out there you probably piss money away on, but this is something that you will actually use. At least I think you would. So.
Well, we appreciate that, Bradley. That's flattering, and I'm happy that you're getting great use out of it. And I want to encourage everyone and invite everyone the idea that we don't know
Hey,
all the ways
hey,
to use
Ed,
the software yet. Yeah, go ahead.
I just dropped you the link for Semantic Mastery's link and the coupon code. If you want to share your screen, or I can share my screen and pop it up on the screen
Share
so people can
share
see
your
it.
screen for them if you don't mind right now.
The code is
Okay.
semantic, correct?
Yes.
The
You'll have to
coupon
stop
code
your
is semantic.
sharing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta
Stop.
stop my sharing. Sorry.
Yep.
There you go.
Alex has a good question. Can other users like VAs log in, or is it like IP restricted or what?
So obviously, we're a small company right now. It's Rob and I. We're not going to be busting balls if you have a marketing assistant or a VA team that's going to be using this. We don't expect everyone to live through this. Like, if you're a bigger agency and you have multiple departments using this, and we can tell, 50 people are logging into the same license, we'll have a problem then. But ultimately, if you're like, small agencies, you have a couple VAs that are using the software, like, I mean, you have them logging.
Okay. Fair
We
enough.
do track IP, and we do track the MAC address, just in full transparency, so that way we can stop people if they're like wicked abusers. But we're not gonna break your arm about it unless you're publishing it everywhere on the internet for people to use. So yeah, feel free, if you have a VA or a marketing assistant, you can share that login. If you're, again, a bigger agency, you start going different departments, you're running these reports regularly, right? Because I think with a lot of these autonomous agents now and stuff, the opportunity for you guys to set up something like in the cloud with our software and just have it auto pump reports out for you. I mean, there's immense possibilities there. And for the record, just to speak on what Bradley was saying earlier, there's so many ways to make money with this, because you guys are agency owners, right? And SEOs and stuff. But if you guys wanted to just sell these reports standalone, that matrix report by itself, you would be out of your mind crazy to do that for an organization for anything less than $1,000. I wouldn't be even giving it away for 2,500, because I think you could go into big enterprise companies and solve their branding issues, because you have the data science behind how their brand appears online. The other thing we didn't run today, but you can always do it, we ran it for Bradley, but you can run people through this. People who are well known online, like Bradley, they're affiliated to a brand. They actually have an entity in the web, right? Across platforms. You can see, like, we can see what Bradley Benner is and what he isn't. Like, we can see the nodes that he's connected to, and he can make decisions about how he wants to move forward. Like, hey, he's not talking enough about something he's really passionate about, or this is why he keeps getting the clients he doesn't like, because he's targeting the wrong thing. Like, there's so many things that could be done there as well. There was a question that just popped up asking about what the custom GPT's name was. I just named it Vectra. It's not public at this time, but you better believe, if you're subscribing to our software, when Rob and I finish these tools, like the video entity checker, visualizer, whatever we're going to ultimately call it, and this custom GPT and that sort of stuff, like, we're going to give you access to that stuff. That's what that maximized tier is for. We're not guaranteeing everything stays there forever, but like, if you guys like what we're doing, we want to take what your opinions are and your needs are, and we want to build it into the software. This was our MVP to go to market with. Now we hope you join our community and you help us shape it to what it's going to be. We don't know what it's going to be, but we got a lot of cool stuff coming. So
Very cool. Paul Wakefield joined. So Paul, thanks for that. And I'll be doing some more kind of demonstrating of how I'm using the tool as I build out some more of my tree service content for direct response marketing and such, guys. I'm still working on training chats and stuff for that, but because I didn't have the custom GPT that would have done it for me. So, so
sorry, Bradley.
no worries, man. I'm slow to implement those kind of, like, prompt chaining and all that kind of stuff, because I don't have a lot of bandwidth to play with it as much as I would like to. But I will be doing a more kind of training in our audience about it, because I really think that is the future of how we should be marketing, is like going back full circle to traditional direct response marketing and copywriting tactics. And because we have the tools now at our fingertips to be able to create, publish, and distribute content almost effortlessly. So where I think we should be focusing our attention is really focusing in on the copy, like how to create compelling messages to specific buyer personas, depending on where they are in the buying cycle. And if we focus in on that, then we already have the technology and the tools to be able to produce the content and distribute it. So I think it's going to overcome, my prediction is it's going to overcome traditional SEO, like in short order. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Okay, guys, I don't see anything else. Are we going to get the custom GPTs to make it really work? Manadip said.
Yeah, but here's the thing too. Like I will get them to you eventually. I don't have an exact date because we're working on this stuff. Right now,
Right.
without the custom GPT, if you just took the 6 reports and you dropped it into your favorite chatbot, I don't care if it's ChatGPT or Grok or Claude or Manus or whatever, it's going to perform better for you, period. Like
Yeah.
tons. It doesn't matter how good you are at building the custom GPT or bots yet. Like just literally giving it this data is like giving it the surf and turf on a silver platter. It's going to know what to do because now you've immensely focused it and trained it on this little sliver or niche or industry. And it, whatever it is you were doing, whatever prompts you were doing, whatever sequence you were taking, I promise you, you'll see way better results just merely
yeah.
including that file.
Oh yeah. Right on, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody hanging out and sticking around and asking some really good questions. And I hope you guys see the power of this tool as I do. I really do think it's an amazing tool. It's good to get connected with Rob again after a few years. So glad to have you guys back, man. And anytime you guys have any additional things you want to kind of talk about with Content Maxima, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to have you present that to our audience again, because I think this is something that our audience will use a lot of. If I have anything to say about it, they will. So
Will do, boss.
Yeah,
I
thank you so
appreciate you
much,
guys.
everybody.
Yep. And
Yeah.
we'll get the replay out within the next 24 hours. And Rob, and Ed, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate the presentation. And Rob, I'll reach out to you via Slack and chat with you a bit in the next business day or so. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good,
Thank you,
man.
Right
Right on, guys. Thanks, everybody. And
See
yeah,
you guys.
Arthur, there will be a replay. We'll get it out probably tomorrow. It'll be on our YouTube channel. So just go check it out at semanticmastery.com tomorrow, or excuse me, youtube.com /semantic mastery tomorrow. Okay. Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Thank you.